Hey, what's going on guys? Ace Trainer John here. Today I thought we'd go over the previous fall expansions to compare and contrast content to see if Beyond Light is really up to that $40, as this seems to be a big talking point of the community at this point. But before we jump into things, I ask that if you're new to my channel and you like my content, you go ahead and subscribe so that way you can keep up to date on all Destiny 2 news, information, leaks, and tutorials and discussions. But anyways, let's jump into it. So the first expansion we're going to be going over is the Taken King. The Taken King was released in 2015 and it cost you $40. And in this expansion it included the following. For story missions there were 8 of them. For a new enemy race there was the Taken. For a new location there was the Dreadnought. And for supers there was 3 new supers: the Solar Sunbreaker Titan, the Void Night Stalker Hunter, and the Arc Stormcaller Warlock. There also ended up being 1 new weapon type, which was swords. And when it comes to exotics, we got a total of 17 exotic weapons, although there was 1 more exotic weapon added later, which is Zen Meteor, which was added in the April update. If you want to count that, that's up to you. And when it comes to exotic armor, we got a total of 12 brand new armor pieces. Though keep in mind, this was the first time that sunsetting was enacted, and so we ended up losing a lot of gear. Anyways, moving on, we had 4 brand new strikes, plus 1 if we again include the April update. We had 1 brand new raid, 9 brand new crucible maps, 3 brand new crucible modes, 1 new activity, which was the Court of Oryx, and again, if we're counting the April update, which if you don't know was a free update for all Taken King owners, it added a brand new version of the Prison of Elders. Again, as a little reminder here, this was the first time we saw sunsetting, so it seemed like we were getting a lot of gear, but in reality we ended up losing a lot of previous gear and activities. And even though that they were still staying in the game, unlike what they're doing with Beyond Light, they were completely useless. Also, according to very reputable leakers, it appears that most of this content was planned for the base of Destiny 1, but because of Activision, it ended up getting cut up and sold to us into an expansion. Overall, this expansion ended up being received very, very well. The expansion we have is Destiny 1's 2016 expansion, Rise of Iron, which was sold for $30. In this expansion, we ended up getting 5 story missions, a semi-brand new race, the Fallen Devil Splicers, 1 new location, the Plague Lands, 1 new social space, the Iron Temple. And when it comes to exotic weapons, we end up getting 5 completely brand new exotic weapons, and of course there is +2 from the Dawning, if you'd like to count those, which was I think it's Abaddon and Nova Mortis, although those technically were just Thunderlord reskins. And I guess if we wanted to get super technical, there was technically 16 brand new exotic primaries with Age of Triumph, although I'm not going to count them whatsoever because they are just the raid weapons with an element. And when it comes to exotic armor, there was 7 brand new pieces of exotic armor. And when it comes to the core activities, there was 1 completely brand new strike, 1 new raid, 4 brand new crucible maps, 1 brand new crucible game mode, Supremacy, and 1 new activity, which was the Archon's Forge. Even though this expansion ended up being smaller than the last one by a lot, it ended up being received well still, even though it was banking on a lot of nostalgia. Next up, we have our first Destiny 2 expansion, which was Forsaken. Forsaken ended up running for $40. With this $40, it got you 5 brand new campaign missions and 7 adventures. And yes, I'm going to count the adventures because they are basically mini campaign missions. Also in this DLC, you ended up getting a brand new enemy race called the Scorn, and we ended up getting 2 brand new locations, which was Tangled Shore and the Dreaming City. And on a more minor note, we ended up getting 1 brand new weapon type, which was bows. And when it comes to supers, we actually ended up getting a total of 9 brand new supers, although they were not customizable like the previous Taken King expansion. Now when it comes to exotics, there ended up being 8 brand new exotic weapons and 12 brand new exotic armor pieces. And when it comes to reprised exotic weapons, that's kinda up to you if you want to count that. Personally, I'm not going to count that because it is still a reprised weapon, although they do kind of function almost completely differently. For example, Ace of Spades. But anyways, moving on, when it comes comes to the main activities, we ended up having 4 brand new strikes, 1 new raid, 1 new activity, the Blind Well, 1 new dungeon, the Shattered Throne, and 4 brand new Crucible maps. Now when it comes to Forsaken, I wouldn't use it particularly as a benchmark for the game, as even though it packed a lot of content for the price, this is just something impossible for Bungie to do in today's standards, and this is because Activision gave Bungie 2 studios to help them with this expansion, and obviously with the split from Activision, Bungie doesn't have this type of manpower anymore, so it's not really possible for them to do. Anyways, moving on, the next expansion we have is Shadowkeep, Bungie's first solo expansion, which went for $35. And just before we get into the nitty-gritty details here, I'd like to note that I am going to include Season of the Undying in this because, well, Season of the Undying was packaged with Shadowkeep. If you bought Shadowkeep, you automatically got Undying. Do keep in mind most of the Undying content is no longer accessible though. Anyways, in this expansion we ended up getting 3 brand new campaign missions, half of a brand new location. We got a remaster of the Moon location from Destiny 1, although it ended up having some new spots in here in Destiny 2. There also ended up being a total of 2 brand new strikes, 1 brand new raid, 1 new dungeon, the Pit of Heresy, 3 brand new activities, the Altar of Sorrows, the Nightmare Hunts, and the Vex Offensive, 1 new Crucible map, and 1 new Crucible game mode. And finally, when it came to exotics, there ended up being 5 brand new exotic weapons, and 3 brand new exotic armor pieces. And overall, this was not very received well by the community, and this was mainly because the season was pretty underwhelming, as well as the campaign was extremely short and, again, underwhelming. And when it came to the new location, it wasn't really new if you were a veteran player. If you're a veteran player, you already saw most of the moon. Even though there was new places, they weren't really that exciting. Overall, when you compare this to something like Rise of Iron, you're essentially paying $5 more to get less content than Rise of Iron, so overall it just didn't really feel worth the $35. And finally, this brings us to what we currently know about Beyond Light. Beyond Light is being priced at $40. In this expansion, we're going to be getting campaign missions, obviously, although how many is unknown at the moment. Currently is rumored to have at least 6 to 8, with adventures sprinkled in between. Again, take this all with a grain of salt in this Beyond Light section, as most of it is speculation, rumors, and leaks. And when it comes to destinations, we have one completely brand new enormous location, which is Europa, and an old location, which is half of the Cosmodrome from Destiny 1, although there is some very slightly new locations in there, so I don't know, that could be interesting. In this expansion, as far as we know, we are not getting a new enemy race, although we are getting new versions of Vex and Fallen enemies. Though when it comes to the Fallen, they are using darkness and they got all kinds of new abilities and powers, so it should be enough to spice up the gameplay and feel like a completely new race of enemies. And when it comes to subclasses, we're getting 3 completely brand new subclasses that are completely customizable, as well as 1 brand new element. And when it comes to the main activities, we're going to be getting 1 brand new raid, 1 brand new strike, and 1 brand new activity named the Empire Hunts. And when it comes to exotic gear, it appears, at least as far as we know, we're getting 4 completely brand new exotic weapons, although there could be more, and 6 brand new exotic armor pieces. And in terms of information, that's pretty much all we know at the moment. Although since the Season of the Dawn fiasco that happened last year, where people felt like they revealed way too much information, Bungie seems to be more tight-lipped since that has happened. Also, on top of this, I feel like a big sort of detractor from the DLC is the fact that there's still a $10 season that's not included. And so because of this removes things like a completely whole other campaign, as well as a brand new seasonal activity. And another big detractor from this whole DLC in general is the fact that they're revamping the complete New Light experience by adding a brand new New Light campaign, as well as they're removing a bunch of old defunct content. Overall, from the looks of things and comparing the previous expansions, it seems like Beyond Light is shaping up to be on the Taken King level in terms of content, which for most people should be the average which par the fall expansion should try to hit. Overall, I don't think anyone is really going to notice anything in terms of content, as this is going to be a more compact season running from November 10th till sometime in February, although time will tell. Anyways, this was Acer John. If you end up enjoying this video, I appreciate a like. If you'd like to keep up to date on all Destiny 2 news, information, leaks, tutorials, and discussions, the subscribe button's right down there. As always, I'll see ya in the next one. Peace.